Hello everyone, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Online. So I said we were gonna do another dungeon, but I decided we really need to do the class quest. There are some things I really want to unlock. So, we are essentially out here trying to help this fellow gladiator who has been ambushed by the Amulja. The Amulja are the beastmen in the Thanalan region, so much like the Sahagin are in Limsa, in Ul'dah and Thanalan, which basically is where Ul'dah is, we have the Amulja. And then in Gridania and the Black Shroud, we have the Ixal. So, don't worry, sister, I'll be fine, though maybe not when the first sword is done with me, huh? Go tell her that the Amulja are dead, leave the merchant to me. Okay, sure, whatever. So we need to report to what's-her-face? Myrel, whatever. Sorry, my allergies are still acting up really bad, so if I'm sniffling, that's why. So, am not sad, just stuffy. Well, at least I'm tired, but not sad. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the Gladiators Guild, because what I really want is I want my shield lob. I want my ranged attack, because I know I have one, and I'm getting very, angy not having it, so... plus, I do want to get a couple levels in, because we're currently level 26. We have plenty of story that we can cover, but I do need Gil as well, so... I knew I was right to send you, Sam. You've done us proud. 7 hells, this place reeks of sweat. How do you expect a man to concentrate on his swordplay like this? Aldous! You remember me. How goes it, brother? Still waving your sword around like a feather duster? Well, that's a weird way to enter. You! Good to see you too, Mila, my dear. You're more beautiful than I remember. You're alive? Where have you been all these years? Answer me. Me? Well, if you must know, I'm on a spiritual journey of self-discovery. Damn it, Aldous, this is serious. We all thought you were dead, and for you to walk in here as though nothing ever happened. Have you forgotten how you dishonored us? I should cut you down where you stand. That's the Mila I remember. All fire and brimstone. I knew that pretty face could still contort itself into terrifying shapes. God, it sounds like my parents talking to each other. Ugh. Don't pout, girl. I'm just having fun. But as you wish, I'll go. Sam, was it? Why don't you join me at the quicksand? I could use some company, and I doubt anyone else here would be so kind. Well, that is really random. That bastard. Why now, after all these years? So, as you can see... Whoa. Alright, fancy pants. As you can see, these people obviously have a lot of tension. I know the story, but I'm not gonna, summarize it. I'll let it play out naturally. This is what I love about class quests. I should have gone to the freaking Adventure Guild one. Oh well. But this is what I love about class quests, is it had its own story. So you obviously have the main story that everybody else is kind of following, but the class quest really just amped up the class that you're playing, right? It's rewarding you for playing this class, in a way. And it kind of keeps you interested in progression. So that's one of the reasons, I love class quests. But then eventually, they kind of got rid of them. I think, was it after Stormblood? I think after Stormblood, that's where they ended class quests, and that's when they started the role quests instead. But don't quote me on that. I don't really remember right at this moment, so... Oh, you came. Sorry you had to witness that little reunion between me and Mila. The Sword of Nald, back from the dead. You'd think I'd be greeted by throngs of adoring fans, not threats of violence. Listen, Sam, you're good with a sword. That's plain to see. But more than that, you've got purpose. There's a fire burning within you. As a former man of conviction, I can recognize a kindred spirit. The blade. Geralt named her Frenzy. She's one of a magnificent pair of swords that the drunken prodigy forged for Colosseum champions. The man who wielded her twin had eyes that burned like yours. Sam, The hells? Uh-oh, danger! Ooh, archers. Aldous, sword of Nald, we've come for your head. If you do that, then how the hell am I supposed to enjoy my ale? Arrogant fool, prepare to meet your maker. Those facial expressions. Well, ain't you a bunch of impatient, humorless fellas? Up for a bit of fun, Sam? I'll lead, you follow. I mean, I guess I don't really have much of a choice, huh? But that's okay. Alright, so, we're gonna go ahead and use this to our advantage. He's like, oh, I'll show you how a Colosseum champion fights. That's fine. We're really just gonna take out one guy at a time, I think. So... we're supposed to take out the one that he's attacking. So... that'll technically help. This is all you got. Try to keep up, boys. Whoa, those special effects, yikes. That's a lot of flashing. On my main account, I kind of just don't really have a lot of the effects enabled, so... sometimes whenever they are enabled, I'm just like, oh gosh, where's all that light coming from? But it also makes for some really funny effects, too. So, one of my friends, she plays as a blue mage, which is a limited class. But yeah, so the blue mages are a limited class, and it's really kind of funny because she has this one attack, and I forget what it is. I don't remember. But when I turn off all the effects, I can't really see what, you know, is being shot or, like, produced from the spell. And the animation makes it look like she's just barking. Like, that she's, like, down on the ground just barking. And it is the funniest thing I have ever seen. Nameless attackers. More nameless attackers. So many nameless attackers. But yeah, I actually was on earlier on my main. I was doing more fate farming, but I decided not to stream it this time. But I actually got into a party with someone I've never met, and it was actually really funny. They were trying to get a specific item, and that item wasn't dropping. I was trying to get like a similar item as well, but the item wasn't dropping, and we were just chatting about the most random stuff. It was actually pretty good. Didn't think you'd go as far as to send gang of sellswords into the quicksand in broad... Oh, didn't think he'd go so far as to send a gang of sellswords into the quicksand in broad daylight. Why is it never a bevy of beauties? Let's continue this another time, shall we? I need to find a new place to drink, one with more attractive company than this lot. Well, shit. Okay, so now I believe we need to go talk to Mila again. So I believe. And I could check, but I'm just kind of going off memory. So we're gonna go up this way. Screw it, we can run there. I'm not like too worried about it. Or at least we can run down this way. This one's closer. Or maybe it's the same distance. I don't know. But yeah, it was so funny. This item wasn't dropping, and they were like, I'm gonna crash out. I'm like, that's why I'm watching Gordon Ramsay. He can scream for me. And it's like, those are the sorts of, like, you know, interactions that I really appreciate in Final Fantasy XIV. I'm never gonna say that this game is perfect, but, you know, playing as a new character, not pretending to be new, but playing as, like, an alt character and, you know, watching how people behave, it's so weird to me, because then when I'm on main, I have really, really good interactions. But I'm getting kind of the weird ones when I'm recording, you know? My apologies, Sam. I meant to teach you new techniques earlier, but when that idiot arrived, I completely forgot. He's just so infuriating. Ahem. Yeah, the shield lob technique will allow you to attack from afar without the need for ranged weaponry. Nice. Since we gladiators are primarily close-range fighters, the ability to draw the attention of distant enemies will be a valuable asset. May it serve you in the field. Nice. Alright, can I use any of this gear? No, but I will take the gil. And now we have shield lob, which is what I wanted. Which I love. So... I love that for us. Okay, so now we have our shield lob. They put it over there, so I'm gonna put it over here. Because that's interrupting my stuffs. I can keep this here for now. Okay, and of course we can pick up the next one, which is our level 20 quest. Sam, I'm glad you're here. One of our members has been attacked and gravely wounded, and I need you to go and help him. I suspect this is the work of more bounty hunters. It may even be a trap to lure more of us into the open. Nevertheless, we cannot ignore our comrade's plight. When last he contacted us by Link Pearl, he said he was trying to seek shelter at the Coffer and Coffin. Take this potion and search for him there. Okay, so is that Western Thanalan? Coffer and Coffin. I know I've seen that place before, but I forget. I forgo. Let's see, Husting Strip. Oh, that's right, I need to pick up that thing at the Alchemist Guild, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. The tools of the trade, so we can get the Aesthetician and I can get this quest off my bar. But yeah, like, genuine, like, interactions like that, I absolutely love. And it's just kind of sad that, like I said, when I'm trying to showcase, like, hey, you know, this community's really nice to newbies, and people generally are pretty cool, then all of a sudden, you know, everybody's just like, oh, let's just, you know, this person's watching a cutscene, let's just beat the boss without them, and it's really weird to me. Because, like I said, I've not really had to deal with that much, so it's just very odd. It's just very odd. But I did have a really nice interaction today, screaming on the inside with another fellow who was also screaming on the inside, because we were grinding for materials to get a relic weapon. But I was also fate farming just to gain rank too, so in the, gain rank in the fates. And I'm actually almost done with Dawn Trail Fates. I only have Yaktel, and then once that reaches rank 4, I'm done. So it's always nice to have goals. So Final Fantasy XIV, kind of like any MMO that you play, a lot of it, you have to make your own fun, right? Because you have the story. But then once you finish the story, which, I mean, it only lasts so long, once you finish the story, you kind of got to decide what you want to do for yourself. So, like, for me, I like minion and mount farming. And so I have to go through all the steps of how to get these minions, how to get these mounts, you know? Help me, I can't feel my... Oh, well. Ooh. Thank you, sister, it all happened so fast. Over by the tracks to the north, I don't know who attacked me, nor why they left me alive, but I dare say the answer is out there. Surely someone saw something. Okay. I don't like how the music just suddenly stopped. I know it's because of a fate, but the fellow outside, I saw him stumble in when I left the bar to take a piss. Was alone, as I recall. You say he's wounded? Thought he was just drunk. Well, you are also part of the Brass Blades, which means you're freaking useless for the most part, so shouldn't really be surprised. But yeah, you definitely need to find, like, your own fun. And there's, like, a bunch of ways to do that. I mean, it's not like there's... I don't know. Some people say there's a lack of content. I think definitely what they mean is there's a lack of specific content that they want to do, which is totally valid and okay. Suspicious characters? Well, now that you mention it, I did see a strange fellow wearing a garish purple robe. At first I thought he was talking to himself when I realized he had a link pearl. I heard him say something about the wrong man and Silver Bazaar. Does that help? Yep. Because they're after Aldous. They thought this man was Aldous. And now they are heading to the Silver Bazaar, which is in Western Thanalan. So I know that for a fact. A point of ambush. Okay. But here's the thing, I also am really lucky that I kind of started playing Final Fantasy XIV after Shadowbringers had already ended. So, like, I had a ton of content to catch up on, you know. Purple robe, that does sound familiar. It was him, I'd swear it. Did you find anything else? Yeah, I found a ring, I guess. Picked this up by the tracks, huh? Might well have belonged to the bastard. Can't say I've seen this before. Might be as Wyman can tell you more. You know him, don't you? He's the bespectable bloke who's always lounging around Emerald Avenue in the city. Of course, being the businessman that he is, he'll probably ask to be compensated in exchange. Show the ring to Wyman. He's sure to know something about it. Okay. Back to Ul'dah it is. But yeah, because I had so much content to catch up on, like, after I finished the story, I was able to take breaks and be like, okay, you know, now I want to get all the horse mounts so that I can get the Kirin, and I want to get all the bird mounts so that I can get the Phoenix, and, you know, like, I want to do all these different raids, and I want to get all these different glams. But now that I've kind of, like, advanced on most things, like, I see what other people say when they say that there's, like, I guess a content drought, and I do. I will quit for like several months at a time due to quote-unquote content drought, but it's because I don't like Savage, you know, I don't like raiding, you know, I don't like crafting, and I don't like PvP. So there's a lot of content that just does not appeal to me, and therefore I have to wait for content that does appeal to me to show up. So... well, now, if it ain't Sam, everybody's favorite venture, I hear you threw your lot in with the gladiators. A questionable decision, given the events of recent days, but to each his own. To what do I owe the pleasure? Wyman, I need you to tell me about this ring, please. Oi, put that away before someone sees it. Where in the seven hells did you get one of those rings? What? Don't you recognize the sigil? Ugh, goddamn fool. Before you go stumbling around in the brush, you ought to at least know what kind of venomous bastards be lurking within. Been a long time since Ul'dah has seen a criminal organization rise from obscurity to notoriety as quickly as the Alacran. Word is they've got connections to the Brass Blades, the Syndicate, and God knows who else. So what, they're like the Illuminati of, like, Ul'dah, or... Huh. But you didn't just hear that from me. I want no part of whatever mess you and your mates have gotten yourselves into, understood? I guess... now, I assume... I'm to go speak with Mila. Let her know what we found, and then I'm pretty sure we'll be heading to the Silver Bazaar. But who knows? Let's see. Am I right? Do I go to Gladiators Guild? I do. I do. And yeah, I could sort my quests so that I see what I'm supposed to do, but I'm kind of like... well, it's right there at the top. But it's like I'm kind of just going off memory right now. Alright. Oh, Sam, I was wondering when you might return. What news do you bring of the injured comrade? He was attacked by a member of the Alacran. His attackers may be headed to the Silver Bazaar. I mean, both are the same, but, you know. The Silver Bazaar? Then it must be some gang of ruffians. No. One of our comrades returned from Stone's Throw moments ago. A gang of bandits is said to be headed for the Silver Bazaar. They're after a man with an enormous bounty on his head. The people living there are in grave danger. In their frenzy to find their quarry, the bandits won't scruple to destroy property and harm civilians, and the few brass blades stationed there will be powerless to stop them. We must stop them, Sam. We'll protect the Silver Bazaar and avenge our injured guildmate, all in one fell swoop. A bit melodramatic, if you ask me. Aldous, I told you never to come here again. I couldn't sit idly by while you charge into battle against an enemy you know nothing about. Mila, a responsible guildmaster, would never risk the lives of her charges like this. Who are you to lecture me about responsibility? Mila, listen to me. This is the Alacran you're dealing with. So, whatever notoriety they may have achieved means nothing to me. We'll cut them down like the common bandits they are. It's not that simple. More importantly, it's not your fight. What are you saying? They want me, Mila. I've been fending off assassination attempts ever since I returned to Thanalan. Just stay here and let me handle this. It'll be over soon, I promise. Just stay here while you go off on your own, is that it? It's been 7 years since I let you leave, Aldous. 7 years. Do you have any idea at all what you put me through? Mila. I don't want to hear it, you selfish bastard. Do you even care about the people who suffered because of you? Just get out. We don't need your help. We'll settle this ourselves. Mila, wait, there's something you need to know. Enough. Get out. I'm not gonna scream. Alright. Save some of that for the Alacran, but do try not to let Sam here come to harm while you're at it. I mean, I'm not so much worried about me. But I mean, okay. Do we have any new gear? I've been getting gear, but meh, I guess I don't have anything worth changing into at this moment. I definitely don't have the gil for it, that's for friggin' sure. I probably should just start doing roulettes just to get the gil, to be honest. So now that I can. Once you unlock some dungeons, you can actually do roulettes. The thing is you're pretty limited at first because all you can do is leveling. But eventually you unlock leveling, trials, let's see, it's leveling, trials, alliance raid, main scenario, and high level dungeons. That's the other one. So yeah. Yeah, it's high level dungeons, leveling, trials, main scenario, and alliance raids. That's what it is. And then if you go through those every single day, like there's bonuses, so you can get a pretty good chunk of gil for doing those, and usually that's how you get like tomestones, which is a currency you'll eventually need. So, I mean, doing your roulettes not only helps you like gain experience and level up any class that you're trying to level, but also you'll eventually just need to do roulettes in general in order to get gear and other things. So, especially if you're farming for relics, which is something that I'm doing right now on main, and my god, is it rough. So, but yeah, as far as making your own fun in Final Fantasy, like I said, there really is no shortage of things to do. You can level every class if you want to level every class. You can try crafting or gathering. You can try, making a ton of gil on the market. I mean, there's role-playing, there's all sorts of things to do, really. There's the relic grind, mount grind, minion grind, like, there's so much. So even though a lot of people say that there's a content drought, like I said, please be aware that what they're actually talking about is content that they personally enjoy, and yes, after a certain point, it would seem like all the content's pretty repetitive, but still take it with a grain of salt, especially if you're just getting into Final Fantasy, because you'll have a lot of content to catch up with first, before you have to worry about content drought, you know? There you are, Sam. Everybody's already in position. Are you prepared? About as prepared as I'm gonna be, I guess. So... Alright, so, we're gonna charge head first. Probably not the best idea, but... I think I did this once before. It wasn't a good idea. You're not really supposed to put on your, You're not really supposed to put on your, thing, crap, tank stance to grab all these people, per se, but, you know, I don't think it hurts anything. I'm not dead yet, so there's that. In these types of groups, there's always going to be like a boss as well, and you want to take out the minions before you take out the boss. I probably should have saved a mitt for this group, but I kind of just used them both because, again, I am really bad at figuring out when I'm supposed to use a mitt. There are going to be NPCs that do heal you, but sometimes in class quests, you will not be given a healer. And likewise, sometimes in class quests, you have to make sure that certain people survive. So just make sure that you're actually reading what the NPCs tell you, because otherwise you could run into some trouble if you're not paying attention. Because you can fail class quests, and then it's frustrating to have to do it again. And it's humiliating if the game's like, you want to try easy mode? And it's like, no, not really. So, at least for me anyways, because I have pride issues, so. Rejoice, gladiators, for the day is ours! I wish I knew what she sounded like voice acted. I feel like she would have a really, really amazing voice. Uh-oh. Ominous music is ominous. What? But why would you be? Leave him to us, First Sword. Maybe don't just go running in? No, stop! Good. Yeah, they got a dangerous Mikote. Such brittle blades, so easily broken. Perhaps the First Sword is made of stronger steel. Blah 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 blah. Leave her, Zana. Our business here is over. Oh no, it looks like he has a blade, just like Aldous. What? What have you done, Livold? First Sword, we must withdraw. The wounded need tending. Let us take him back to the guild. I do like the animation of the guy carrying the other guy. Like, there's parts where I'll look at a cutscene, and it's not even, like, the higher-end cutscenes, and it's actually just really well done. Like, the movement is actually really well done. And that's just one of them. And I don't know why I notice it every time, but I'm like, oh man, you know, them carrying the wounded, like, that's actually a really good animation. Now, mind you, I don't know shit about animation, so it could be, like, the crappiest animation on the planet, but at the same time, like, it looks great to me, so, and I don't know, it just always stands out. But no, ever since I started playing Final Fantasy XIV for a Let's Play, ever since I started doing a long play of it, I've been getting a lot of video recommendations of people, you know, expressing their thoughts and feelings on the current state of Final Fantasy XIV. I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV now for about almost 5 years, and you know, that's not a long time given the game's like lifespan, I guess. I'm obviously not new. I'm considered a veteran player, but you know, I haven't been playing it as long as some other people, and by the time that I started actually playing, Final Fantasy XIV, there had already been a lot of quality of life changes made. So it's not like I came in at the beginning of A Realm Reborn and had to go through the ups and downs of all the changes they were making. By the time I came in, they had already made a lot of changes. Like there were races in the game now that hadn't been there before. Like I said, there had been classes added that wasn't there before. So, I can't speak to how the game was when it was reborn, to how it is now, but, I don't know, to suddenly be flooded with all these opinion videos, it really just had me thinking about my own opinion of Final Fantasy XIV, and, like, I don't want to get into the drama, really, because at first I was like, maybe I should make an opinion video, and then I went, oh, ew, no. Because I already know the sort of backlash I would get for my opinions, and I just instantly cringed away from it, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to. Give me a moment, Sam. I need to think. I wanted to spare you this, Mila. I begged you not to go. You knew, Aldis, that Leovold had... Leovold and I once fought side by side in the Colosseum. The twin swords of Naldal, they called us. Never lost a match. Honored by the bull of Alamigo himself. But that was then, and this is now. When I learned Leovold single-handedly transformed the Alucran from a gang of common thieves into the most feared criminal organization in Thanalan, I knew I had to return. It seems like a lifetime ago that the three of us used to train together in this hall. The Leovold I knew would never stoop so low. He was a good man, strong and true. What would drive him to do this? When I find him, I'll be sure to ask. Unfortunately, he seems determined to kill me for my curiosity. What aren't you telling me, Aldis? I'm not clever enough to keep secrets, my dear. I'm a simple man, only capable of dealing with what's right in front of me. Is that so? I'll find him, Mila. I promise. And then he leaves again. He literally shows up and just leaves. He's like, okay, I know you told me never to come back, but anyways, yeah, stuff's hard right now. Take care. God, what a weirdo. What a weirdo. And we leveled up again. Alright, let's see. Yep, I was about to say, I bet the shield is gonna change. Okay, so I can take on the next class quest. I don't want to right now until I have the proper gear for it. So I am gonna go buy some gear. And I know that's gonna make some people scream. Because they're like, you can get it naturally. You don't need to buy it. I don't care. I don't care what you think. I'm gonna go buy it. I'm lazy. And I don't want to do anything else. I already have other characters I have to work on. And it's not like Guild Wars where all your accounts are freaking linked, you know? So I need 25 gear. My only thing is like, you kind of just get to this point where... Like, I could do the turban, but this is what's starting to get me. So, obviously, it's like, I'm level 27. There's nothing above level 25, even though it says it goes to, like, level 29, I think. And then, like, you get to this weird thing where it's like, you can't equip anything with, headgear and stuff. And then you look like this weird Dark Souls character, and I freaking hate that. So... But it's okay. We'll just go ahead and do the 23 gear. Yeah, like this one. Cannot equip gear to head. Yeah, we ain't... I ain't playing that game because it's weird. And I already have insufficient gil. Someone out there is probably screaming that I could just, like... I don't know. Sell my old gear. But once I unlock retainer... Then what am I supposed to do? Right? Once I get a retainer, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, I know, I can't hire a retainer. Actually, how bad is my armory right now? Not bad. Yeah, not terrible. Oh, I do have some extra stuff I could probably sell. Yeah, open armory chest. Let's see. Because there are some things like, yeah, I'm not a warrior, so I can sell that. Because I know that there were some dungeons where people just kind of ran out, and I'm like, I can't really use that. 12, Disciple of War, Disciple of War. Let's see, is there any magic stuff that I can't really make any use of? I want to keep the stuff that's for all classes. Because that'll actually help me later on if I want to, like, do any crafting or anything like that, so. Disciple of War. Anything for magics. Anything for mages that I can't use. No. Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay. Never mind. I know I do have, like, gil back here, so I mean, I guess I could technically sell this. stuff and then have a bunch of gil at my disposal. But, eh. Okay, go ahead, hit me up. I want this. Holy crap, that took half my gil already! This is gonna take the rest of it. Now I look ugly! Look at this ugly stuff! It's gross! Oh well. Alright, now that I've gotten and done that and whined about it sufficiently, we are going to go to... oh gosh, where are we going? We're going back to Western Thanalan. We're going to go to the Copperbell Mines. That's right, that's what I was doing. I swear I know what I'm doing. 'Cause dungeons, am I right? And I don't know how long we're going to have to wait for those, so... And here's the thing, hopefully this one's a better experience. So, am I, like, used to the Copperbell Mines? No. So, Copperbell Mines, I know that there's a boss in there that used to have a different mechanic, and this is what I mean where I'm talking about quality of life, right? So there used to be this boss that you essentially had to have the tank kite around while people, like, picked up bombs and, like, placed them so that they could blast this slime into pieces. Well, obviously they kind of realized after a while that there were people just going in trying to solo this dungeon and, like, trying to do other things with this dungeon. And that mechanic made it darn near impossible to actually, like, do anything solo. Like, you were essentially just being blocked from doing stuff because of this, like, one mechanic, if you were playing by yourself, and it was really frustrating. And so, I don't know when they made this change, but they eventually made a change where, you know, now, the way it works is the slime will blast itself into parts as, like, one of its battle mechanics. So, Final Fantasy XIV is ever evolving. I think one of the main arguments I keep seeing in all the videos is people talking about how the game is too easy. I agree that the game has only felt easier the longer I've played it. Part of that comes from experience. The other part of that comes from just the fact that I don't think they're making content as hard as they used to. Because Shadowbringers, by comparison, Shadowbringers was some of, like, the hardest content. And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh crap, like, I'm getting my butt handed to me right now. And I've not felt that way since. And, you know, some people see this as a bad thing, because obviously people do play games for a challenge to some extent. And yes, there are casual players, but there's nothing wrong with wanting a little bit of challenge either. I kind of see both sides of it, really. I'm a more casual player, okay? The reason I don't like raiding and the reason I don't like PvP is because I don't like things like job optimization. I don't like doing certain rotations to get optimal damage. I just like doing a 1, 2, 3 that's basically just lined up for me. I like experiencing the story. I am highly casual. I'm definitely not any sort of try-hard, even though there are some things I've done that are kind of sweaty try-hard. Normally I like to keep things pretty casual. So for me, I don't mind the content being easier, I just wish there was more content. But yeah. What, you're the adventurer who's volunteered to quell the hecatoncheires? I didn't think that Papa Sean would be able to find someone so quickly, if at all. The giants are content to wreak havoc inside the mines for now, but it's only a matter of time before they think to come outside. The sooner you see to them, the better. Make ready as best you can and enter at will. Okay, so now the Copperbell Mines are now accessible. I don't know how fast we're going to be able to queue for this, so we shall see. But yeah, if you see right here, for leveling, if I were to do this, I would actually get 1,375 gil. This would be, like, doubled if I were a healer, because they're in need of healers right now. But I am not a healer, I am tank. So it says we're going to queue in about 5 minutes. We'll see if that's the case. But anyways, as far as, like, all the other opinions, mostly it kind of comes down to Final Fantasy XIV's writing. So here's kind of like my general consensus about, without giving details about what happens in the expansions, this is kind of like my summary. ARR, which is A Realm Reborn, which is the base game that we're in right now. A Realm Reborn is very slow, but it has to be because you're building the world, right? So it's essentially telling you all about the city-states, where they are politically, their own personal trials and tribulations, and then, of course, the rise of the Garlean Empire from the ashes, so that they can continue their war against Eorzea, right? So that's A Realm Reborn. You're essentially just building the entire story, right? You're setting the scene. So that's why it's so paced, because you have to introduce every single character, every main player, right, is going to be introduced in A Realm Reborn, right? And then Heavensward is where the writing gets really super interesting, because now we don't have to sit there and introduce every single person. We only have to introduce the new people. And not only that, but we get to explore a new region that was important once upon a time to, the story. But since then, they sealed themselves off. Well, now they're reappearing, and we're just like, ooh, so everything's really fresh. Everything's really exciting. There's a bunch of new lore, and we're learning stuffs. We're learning stuffs about some of the enemies we thought we knew everything about. We're starting to get a better understanding of people's views on certain aspects. It's more of a lesson on tolerance and patience than anything. But Heavensward, really well paced, very somber. It's a very sad, sort of somber experience. I like it. I like it a lot. It ends up being heartbreaking, but, like, I love Heavensward. I feel like it just... The writing, they nailed the writing, they nailed the scene, they nailed the characters. I feel like everything's really, really, really well put together in Heavensward. Now, mechanic-wise, there's some things in Heavensward I don't like. The Aethernet system is still the bane of my existence, and I hate that they use it in every single expansion, but you know what? Whatever. I've kind of accepted it's here to stay. There's nothing I can do about it. Stormblood had a lot of potential, but unfortunately, this is kind of where we start getting into messy writing. When you have an expansion that focuses on more than one area, and when I say area, I mean like continent. I'm talking like big zone, big places, right? When you have divided attention on areas, then you obviously have divided attention in writing, and that's when things kind of get skewed. So, because there was this focus on essentially two different areas, Stormblood is ultimately very forgettable because the writing feels rushed. There's not enough time and focus on the things that should be focused on. So the notes don't hit as powerful as they could. So, sorry, I'm going to have to drink my Baja Blast to soothe the sore throat of my general seething rage at how good Stormblood could have been and how forgettable it actually is. But yeah, ultimately, Stormblood, like I said, ton of potential. Sorry, I'm eating an ice cube. Ton of potential, but it was let down because, again, like, there was just too much attention, too much focus on trying to build two areas at once. And I have found that this is kind of Squeenix's weak point. It's their Achilles heel. When they try to focus their attention on too many things at once, writing gets messy, things get sloppy, then you have a bunch of people that are very angry. So what could have been a really cool experience, and what had an amazing post-game, had such a forgettable main game, which is sad. Shadowbringers reeled that back in. Shadowbringers was like, okay, obviously we've learned a lesson. Let's just go back to focusing on one big thing, right? And so that's kind of what they did. Yeah, you have some like in between sections, but ultimately all the writing is focused on one thing. Your player going through one area to achieve one goal. And it was dark. Like, Shadowbringers creeped me out. Like, it was dark. In fact, I remember contacting my friend and being like, what the crap is this game? Because, like, I thought I was playing a Final Fantasy game, and this just turned into a horror game. And I got laughed at, and she was like, bro, you're in Shadowbringers, aren't you? And I was like, oh, yeah. And she was like, oh, welcome aboard. And I was like, oh, Lord. And I was terrified, like, legitimately terrified. So there was that, and that was good. That was a good time. And then you get into Endwalker. I was so hyped for Endwalker. I cannot tell you. After I finished Shadowbringers, I was so ready for Endwalker. I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be, like, top-notch. This is gonna be elite, right? This is gonna be the best thing I've ever played in my life. I can't wait. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Again, they went back to focusing on too many things at once. And when I say too many things at once, I mean it. There was so much going on in Endwalker. It was just this constant travel here, travel there. Here's a new area. There's a new area. Here's a new section. There's a new section. Here's another place. Here's another... I can't even explain it to you because then I'd be spoiling things. But there was too much. There was so much going on. Way too much going on. And because there was too much going on, it lost the plot. It was very messy. There were some parts that were so dark and so sad, but there was just no embellishment on that. Oh, I only have 2 minutes to do that. I won't be able to get me out of this fate. But yeah, because there was just too much going on, you know, there wasn't enough time to let the sadness, like, really seep in and the emotion really seep in. And that's the thing, like, there was so much that was so dark and so hopeless and so gritty. And it wasn't terrifying in the same way that Shadowbringers was terrifying. This was terrifying in a whole different light. You know, but, like, not in a good way, I guess. Like, because, like I said, I want, like, scary, you know, if you're gonna go terrifying. But yeah, essentially, I don't even know how to explain it other than how I've already really just explained it. But Endwalker was messy, and, you know, I hoped that they would bring it back around. I was like, okay, they've got to bring it back around. You know, at some point. If you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm unlocking dyes and glamour. The dyes will let me color my clothing, obviously, and glamour will let me put an outfit over my ugly armor so that I can at least look decent. But the only problem is I don't have a glamour available, so... But eventually, you know, eventually. Gear dyeing now available. Thank you. But glamour's really what I want. Glam is endgame Final Fantasy, you know? And this lady really likes her orange juice. Yay, glamour's unlocked. Thank you. But yeah, I really thought that they would, I had really hoped that they would kind of learn their lesson with Dawn Trail. Because I was just like, it kind of seemed like it, you know? Like, it kind of seemed like they were on that path. It felt that way. Because, you know, one moment they're, you know, it seemed like every other expansion they were like, okay, we messed up, let's fix that. So it's just like, you know, you have a Realm Reborn and it's really slow pacing, which again was understandable because they were literally rebuilding a realm. Then all of a sudden you have, you have Heaven's Ward, which, like I said, less world building necessary. So they kind of just got into the nitty gritty, which was really, really good. Powerful, lots of emotion, like, fantastic. It lost the plot a few times, but not really in any bad way. Well, then... Oh, crap. But then, all of a sudden, you have Stormblood, again, messy writing, because they were focusing on too much at once, and so it lost the plot, and there was just some sections that were just really kind of, like I said, forgettable, because they didn't have the time to invest in it. But then you get into post-game, and post-game was really strong, because again, they weren't focusing on two things now they were just focusing on the one. And it's like, okay, cool. Shadowbringers, goat. Like, completely goated. Like, amazing. You know? Shadowbringers can't be beat. But, you know, and like I said, it was because they had a focused approach. And the grimdark writing was something that we really hadn't had, you know, in Final Fantasy. So it was adding so many new elements, but also keeping it focused. And so overall, really, really good. Like, have no complaints about Shadowbringers, really, minus, like, maybe one or two things. So then Endwalker. Endwalker, again, focusing on way too much at once. You know, thought they'd learned their lesson. They obviously didn't. They tried to keep with a grimdark, but again, because you were focusing on too much at once, it kind of felt like it was all over the place, and it wasn't focused at all. Whatever, you know, things are gonna happen. So then you come to Dawn Trail, and that's what everybody's talking about nowadays is Dawn Trail. Well, the only thing I can say about Dawn Trail is I don't hate it, but it's not the best. And I don't say this lightly because I'm worried about, like, the community jumping me or anything, because really, I'm not worried about that at all. But honestly, like, I do feel like people kind of take these really extreme sides that are unnecessary. I think it's okay to not like an expansion. And I definitely think it's okay to be able to... I think it's okay if you want to explain why you don't like an expansion. But you also have to know that because you are going to be putting your opinions out on the internet, that there's going to be people that disagree, and especially if, you know, your opinion is the unpopular one, you gotta brace yourself for, you know, backlash. Now, with that being said, a lot of the drama and memes that you'll see about Final Fantasy XIV have to do with Wuk-Lamat. Again, new character. I'm not going to get into the drama. I mean, I could come in with receipts if I wanted to. I don't really feel like I should have to, because again, I'm allowed to have my opinion, same as anybody else is allowed to have theirs. I like Wuk-Lamat as a character. Okay? As a character, I like her. Okay? Her voice, I actually like it. I think it's very charming, given how silly the character is. So, I'm not gonna say it's like, I don't know how to say, it's not that it's not a nice voice, it's just, like I said, it's charming, it's unique, and it's different. Okay? People have their own opinions about it. Some people don't like Wuk-Lamat. Some people say that the English VA for Wuk-Lamat is horrible, whatever. I don't think that. I played all of Dawn Trail in English, alright? I don't think it's bad, alright? There were lines that definitely needed re-recorded, and I'm glad that they went back and did that. But I'm also glad that we have the memes, because it's hilarious to go into an instance and everybody yelling this funny meme because we know what it sounded like before. Definitely glad they did fix it. But just because I like a character does not mean I like the VA. And I don't like the VA. Just because of how they handle themselves online. And that's really all I have to say about it. Dawn Trail, kind of like Endwalker, was messy, and it's because they were still trying to focus on way too much at once, and the writing gave me whiplash. But overall, it's not terrible. It's just not great. It's kind of like Stormblood. Ultimately, it's gonna be pretty freaking forgettable. So, that's just how I feel about it. And like I said, me and my friends have disagreements about it. I have one friend that hates Dawn Trail. I have another friend that really loves Dawn Trail. And I'm kind of in a gray area. I don't like it or hate it. I think it's okay. It's just kind of mid. Alright, so... oh god. Here we go. Now's time to hide my anxiety. Oh, but I have my shield lob. Oh, thank god. I have shield lob. Okay, so this is one of those ones where it's like... it's pretty bad because you can't really get through without... I mean, I guess you could, but... I was about to say, this has mechanics. So we obviously have a lot of little tiny pieces. There's a lot of things we have to do right away. So there's not only going to be keys, but there's going to be blasting sands. You want to wait until everybody gets on the elevator. There's multiple levels. This is kind of introducing where things are going to get a little bit more complex. So this is where, you know, essentially they're going to want you to really start paying attention to layouts, using your mini-map. I went the wrong way. As per I said, use your mini-map. What the... where's this other Spriggan that I basically have no attention for? Oh. Usually what I'll do is if I'm losing aggro, I'll just throw the shield back behind me. I don't know if I should do this, but you know, that's just something I do. Also, because I play Red Mage, I realized this... oh gosh, when did I realize this? I realized this yesterday. I keep pressing tab, and I have tab to, I have tab set up so that it attacks my nearest enemy. And it's just like... my only issue with that is I keep pressing tab, and then I'm worried about my nearest enemy. And, like I said, my issue with that is I'm always pressing tab even though an enemy's not dead, and then I'm just swapping enemies. And it's because of Red Mage. So, with Red Mage, if an enemy dies, like, your spell is interrupted. And it's really annoying. Like, really, really, really annoying. Like, and so, like, you always have to press tab, because then you're having to swap between enemies, because there's DPS that can kill things faster than you can, as a spellcaster. And, so, like, that's, like, my main issue, is, that right there. So, I keep pressing tab as, like, part of my rotation, because of how long I played Red Mage, and then I don't even realize, like, what's happening until I'm like, why am I swapping enemies? Like, why is this happening to me? Like, there we go. Alright, and then this is where it teaches you about the mechanics. So a lot of people don't realize there's fire sand up here. So I always try and grab it off the mound first. So you grab one, someone goes over there, someone goes to the plunger. And then we get to open up the blasting device, which is then going to open our way to the first boss, which is Kotos. And now that I have a shield lob, I really love it because that's how that's essentially how I instigate every fight. Alright, that red arrow is a tank buster. So here's the thing, someone the other day stacked on top of me when I was doing a tank buster. And I had to type to them, and I had to say, hey, don't. And they're like, oh, I thought that was a stack. And it's like, no, it's not a stack. And I was like, no, that that is not a stack, that is a tank buster, and that is for tanks only. Now, there is an arrow where you do need to stack, and that stack, it's an orange arrow, and it'll look a lot different than the tank buster. And this is why you need to use the, this is essentially why you should use the smith. If you've never, you know, used the smith or anything like that, like, this is why you would want to. Because otherwise, oops, wrong way. Because, yeah, otherwise you might not know the difference between a tank buster and a stack, and that could mean life or death if you're DPS, so. Alright, everybody, into the elevator so that we can go down into the depths below. Come on, come on. Little thaumaturge. I don't know why I'm talking that way. I'm so tired right now. Can't even describe to you. I've literally just talked your ears off about Final Fantasy opinions that don't even matter. Now these ones we have to go into these little chambers. These guys don't like to stack up. Usually people will try and like move them into separate chambers. I don't know, they'll try to move them to the other chamber so they can take them all out at once. I have never seen that do any good. So, but yeah, you have to get the fire sand from each section. You always need 2. So if you're like, why blast not blasting? Remember, you need 2. Okay, so this is not. This was obviously an example of DPS grabbing aggro. You know, it's whatever, really. Like I said, if DPS grabs aggro, I don't really care. As long as they bring them to me. And then if they as long as they understand that them doing that is essentially putting them in danger, that's a them problem. If they die. Alright, hit the blast. You know, like I said, if the person in charge is being impatient, that's a them problem. So, I wait for everybody to show up. Everybody's here. The only thing I don't agree with is when the DPS pulls the boss. The DPS or healer should never pull the boss. That should not be a thing that happens. Why they would do this is beyond me. But this is the slime I was telling you about. So he'll divide, and when he does that, his little division piles will turn into AoEs. So... and this will make him smaller and more, able to be damaged. And he'll do this a couple of times. And essentially, my understanding is you want to pull him into a section where he can't do damage to you. So... and he'll do this more and more often, so... these early dungeons teach you a lot about the basic mechanics you're essentially going to be running into. So, like I said, they're not bad. Alright, now this is where we kind of have issues. You can skip a lot of these enemies. And that's what I'm going to try to do, because you don't need to kill every enemy. Like, trust me when I say it is not necessary. Alright, you really just need the basics. And the thing is like, you'll learn how to cheese different dungeons, and what's crazy is like, I'm a DPS main, right? So, like, usually I'm just following the tank, so everything I'm doing right now is copied from some tank I've watched at some point. Because that's all I know, okay? But if I can avoid, like, different, like, groups, then I'm going to avoid them. Yeah, big boy, over here. Come on. Come on. Going over this way. Yeah, we're going over this way. Owie. Owie. Owie again. Sometimes healers will let my health get lower than comfortable. But we're at the final boss, so it's okay, right? Please let me watch the cutscene. I love it when loot plays and like it's trying to be all serious. The giants all look like I mean, they're all just Titan, aren't they? They're all just reskin Titans. Aw, nice. Thank you. Thank you for waiting. I am so excited that you guys waited for me. Now, there is such a thing as a ready check. There is a mechanic for that. And it'll essentially, like, ask people, like, are you ready to fight this boss? And if one person says no, then you know it's just not ready, you know? Now this guy hasn't really used anything to where I have to mitigate any sort of tank buster or anything like that. Oh, never mind. Anyways, I say, good thing I had limit ready, I suppose. I was gonna just ask when DPS was gonna use their limit break. So, that's nice. Alright, GG everybody, that was really nice. I love that. Hmm. Oh, I got 2 player comms, nice. Well, Copperbell Mines are done. But I'm not there to actually get the storyline thing. Because I ran away. I was doing quests, because why not? So I will, let's see, what do I have to do? Do I have to go, no? Report to Painted Mesa. Oh, he should be back in, Ul'dah, right? So that shouldn't be a big deal, actually, because I can just return there. And then that's probably where we're gonna end the episode for today, since you've heard me ramble on long enough. Yep, looks like that is the case. Also, if you guys have any ideas for glamour, just let me know. Obviously, I can't afford crap on this character, but, you know, it's still a nice thought. You know? Painted Mesa, I got rid of your giant problem. Yeah. I'm the greatest. Oh, crap. What? This is another... Oh, goodness. I should have just held off, because this is going to take another, like, 1,000 years, isn't it? Oh, the Conqueror of Copperbell returns. Thanks to you, our mining operations can resume, and Ul'dah will have the materials she needs to rebuild. The entire nation's in your debt, friend. I'll share the good tidings with Papa Sean next time I see him. As for you, you'll want to report to Momodi. It'll do the woman well to see you're alive and in one piece. I mean, yeah. But what's the catch? I heard that scream before. Shut your mouth, you thieving little swine. You stole from me. Don't even think to deny it. Please, sir, I didn't steal nothing. I bought this, paid for it with my own coin. What rot. You refugees are all the same. Couldn't afford maggoty mole meat, much less a cut of dodo. I'm gonna say it one more time. Give back what you stole, or I'll make you wish you'd never set foot in this town. By rights, I should turn you over to the Brass Blades, you know. Help keep the streets safe for law-abiding citizens. But I'm a reasonable man. If you agree to serve me in whatever capacity I require, the authorities needn't hear of your crime. Ew. But I ain't done nothing wrong. 12 is me witness. And everybody's just like, yeah, I don't want in with that. Please, adventurer, help me, I beg of you. I swear on me mother's grave, I didn't steal nothing. I bought this with the coin I'd saved. I only wanted to treat me children to a decent meal. And who the hells are you when you're at home? The dog's master? I've had enough of this mummer's farce. You lot teach them a lesson. I mean, I guess. Battle time! This video will go over, but oh well. If it'll load. It's like, I'll take care of this, the rest of you can watch. Sure. You think you can handle it. Not bad for an adventure. Well, you know, I literally just fought a giant, dude. He's like, I should have stopped at the 7 ale. Oh, now he's asking for help. It's alright. I'll take you all on at once. No big deal. Well, your spellcaster's gone. You're down. And now you're gone too. Crazy. I ain't getting paid enough for this. Dude, I say that every day. Hey, where the hells do you think you're going? Thank you, kind adventurer. Thank you thrice over. My migraines are back. My adventurer forgot to take her Cedrin. Flashback time. The way you know it, it's because everything's in sepia tone. I'd swear there were more refugees than when last I looked. And you wouldn't be mistaken. But it's been 5 years since the calamity. Why are they only coming here now? It's simple, really. While a number of hamlets survived the immediate aftermath of the calamity, many were no longer able to support their communities. The residents found their lands had either been rendered barren or cut off from the trade routes, and problems like those aren't easily solved. Though they tried to make the best of it, it was only a matter of time before they were forced to abandon their homes and seek a new life in the city. I see. But the calamity affected the whole realm, didn't it? Is it the same thing happening in other cities? If talk is true, yes. Though perhaps our situation is more pronounced. Ul'dah has a reputation for being prosperous, so it's natural that the refugees would try their luck here first. My heart goes out to them, it truly does, but I would be lying if I said that I wasn't apprehensive. I hope their presence doesn't foment lawlessness in the city. Well, if things do take a turn for the worse, we always have the immortal flames. I dare say the Brass Blades would welcome their help. The heroes who fought the Garlean Empire patrolling the streets for riffraff? It may well come to that. Impoverished and desperate as they are, you may be sure that some of the refugees will turn to crime. You know what this place is like. If you've got no coin, you've got no hope. What will become of our city? Not all refugees are bad, mind you. Some are able to find employment and lead honest lives. Dodo tenderloins. Get your dodo tenderloins. Guaranteed cheapest in Thanalan. Thank you for your custom, madam. Please come again. Looking around, you'd think that Ul'dah was well on its way to recovery. But peer through the veil of prosperity and you'll see no end to misery and suffering. So essentially that's just a vision showing that, yeah, she's innocent. She bought the dodo. Like, she ain't no liar. Madam, are you alright? Yeah, I just forgot my Excedrin. What now? You mean to threaten the defenseless citizen? No, she bought the dodo, you idiot. What? Saw her buy the meat, you say? That's absurd. Aye, as did I. Leave the poor woman alone, you damnable vulture. Who said that? Who did say that? I'll overlook this, but just this once. Yeah, I'm sure. God bless ye, Venture. If you hadn't come along when you did, who knows what that monster might have done. It don't bear thinking about. Yeah, go feed your children, lady. You're safe. You're safe now. All's well that ends well. Oh, hi, Thancred. We meet again. Pray do not mistake my intent, for it was always honorable, but I have been watching you ever since you departed Ul'dah. You played the part of envoy to perfection, confident as a woman on a diplomatic mission should be, yet unfailingly courteous to your betters. And when your travels led you into the midst of danger, you faced it without so much as a flinch. You, my lady, are quite a marvel, and I confess to being quite taken with you. Thancred, your fuckboy charms don't work on me, dude. But my lavish praise continues. Most of all, I was struck by your readiness to aid those in need, even when words were all the reward you could expect to receive. Such selflessness is a rare thing in this day and age. All of which leads me to conclude that you're indeed the one whom I've been looking for, an adventurer possessed of a very rare set of qualities. To be sure, your rescue of the damsel in distress was more of a happy accident, but rescue her you did, and that is what matters in the end. I feel I should mention at this point I also harbor a burning interest in a certain talent of yours. I speak of your visions. You have been experiencing visions, have you not? Well, it just so happens that I know a woman who shares your talent, and can help you understand it. She and I belong to the same organization, and we should both be delighted beyond words if you would agree to join our cause. Naturally, there are benefits to being part of such a collective. For one, we should be glad to assist you in realizing your potential as an adventurer. You need not give me your answer now. Think upon it. And if you feel moved to help us, I pray you shall speak with Momodi, the ever-lovely and youthful mistress of the Quicksand. Tell her the scions of the Seventh Dawn have found their woman, and she'll tell you where to find us. Okay. Is that it? Okay, that's it. So that's all I have for this episode. Anyways, leave a like if you like the series, and if you'd like me to play more. Whatever your opinions on Final Fantasy are, leave them in the comment section down below. Just make sure that you're including the proper spoiler tags in case this is somebody's first experience. And like I said, you know, proper critical criticism, you know, whatever. Proper criticism. That's all I ask. Constructive criticism, if you will. But anyways, thank you guys so much for your continued support on my videos, and as always, I will see you all in the next one. Alright, ciao you guys!